Hello students, let's do the poem from Unit 8, Poem 8 on Killing a Tree, written by Jiv Patel. Now, what is given? The title, remember the title on killing a tree. We usually cut a tree, we say we destroyed the tree. But over here, when the poet Jiv Patel says on killing a tree, it shows that poet is very much emotional. And what does he want to say in his poem? Let's see. You must have observed people cutting down trees. But can they kill a tree? Is it easy to do so? Let's read the poem and find out what the poet says on killing a tree. So students, let's read the poem and see what is poet really trying to tell us in this poem about killing a tree. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So, hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. No, the root has to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Written by Jiv Patel. So students, it's about the poem. What does the poet say? Poet says that killing a tree, it does not, first and foremost, we get the picture that the poet is very sad when he talks about killing a tree, when he talks about a tree has been fallen, the tree has been killed, the tree has been destroyed. And what does he tell us? He is first of all sad, and he tells us about the difficulties in cutting a grown-up tree and the agony, the pain that he suffers, the pain that the tree has to go through. And it takes a long time to kill a tree. It's not easy task, but it takes a long time to kill a tree. And a simple thrust of a knife will not kill it. It has grown slowly, feeding on the crust of the earth, and it has risen from it. It has for years absorbed nutrition from the earth, which anchors it, also from the air and the water, from its bark, which looks leprous, which is decayed, branches, twigs, and the leaves sprout out. They will come up. So first you need to hack and chop the tree. But that alone will not kill the tree. That will give pain to the tree. But soon the bleeding bark will heal. And from the stump close to the ground, miniature green twigs will rise. If they are unchecked, if they are not checked, they will expand and grow to give the tree its former size. Meaning, if that part is not cut, what will happen? Again, it will become to the same size, it will go like a former size what it was. So, the roots need to be pulled out of the earth, which they have used as an anchor. The roots have to be tied with a rope and then pulled and snapped out from the earth. The roots are the strength, source, and the most sensitive part of the trees, and they are hidden inside the earth for years. For years, the roots have gone inside and they have been hidden in the soil, in the earth. Now, to kill the tree, one has to scorch and choke the roots of the tree and the roots in the sunlight and the air. Once they are brown, they are hardened, they are twisted, and withered. The tree is dead, and the effort to kill it is complete. So once it has become hard, once it has become brown, once it is withering, we know the lifespan of the tree is over. The killing of the procedure has been completed. And so that is what the poet is telling. So let's see now by line, what figures of speech or what devices the poet is using in the poem. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of a knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous side, sprouting leaves. So students, what is it? In the first line itself, it takes much time to kill a tree. What figures of speech? The sound of the consonant time and takes, TT has been repeated, and therefore it is poetic effect. It is alliteration. Make a bracket to it. This is alliteration. Then not a simple jab of the knife will do it. Negation has been conveyed over here to affirm the meaning that the tree cannot be cut like that so easily. It is difficult to kill a tree, and so therefore it is litotes, not a simple jab. Make a bracket right over there. Litotes. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust. What figures of speech, students? Till there, till I read, till crust. Metonymy, because the word, the earth represents the food that the tree gets from the earth. There is also internal rhyming by consuming, rising, feeding. Tautology, because unnecessarily the use of words like consuming, feeding. The tree consumes water, or the tree is being fed upon the water. Meaning is almost same, isn't it? And so unnecessarily the word have been used, consuming and feeding. Also there is a metaphor. There is an indirect comparison between the mother and the earth. The point of comparison is to feed and help to grow the tree. Then comes absorbing years of sunlight, air and water. Make a bracket from absorbing. What figures of speech? Anticlimax. There is a descending order of the resources like sunlight, air and water. Sunlight, air and water. Descending order. Visually say water, air and sunlight. Okay. And out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Make a bracket. And out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Metaphor. There is an indirect comparison between a leper's skin and the hide of a tree. The point of comparison is to be decayed. That is the leper whose body, whose fingers and all, the body decays, does not have a proper shape. And so over here, okay. So students, in this stanza, we saw the figures of speech like alliteration, litotes, by using not a simple jab of the knife will do it, but the poet is trying to convey the positive meaning. Also metonymy, internal rhyme, tautology and metaphor we saw. We saw the anticlimax for the descending order like sunlight, air and water. And the last which we saw over here is about the metaphor, that is and out of its leprous side, sprouting leaves. One more figures of speech is there, one more device, and that is transfer epithet. What is that, the transfer epithet for? The adjective leprous has been transferred from a person to the bark of a tree. Who gets the leper? Leprosy, who gets the leprosy? A person, a leper. Leper has a leprosy, we say. But over here, the device here, over here, the adjective leprous has been transferred from a person to the bark of a tree, and which has been closely associated with. So here we saw these figures of speech. Let's come to the next stanza. students, I suppose now you are able to find out what figures of speech has been, or which word, which sentence is the figures of speech, because we have been doing it from the poem number 1, isn't it? So, hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it, the bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. What is the poet trying to say? If it is not cut properly, if it is not killed properly, what will happen? From there, from the bark, bleeding bark, where the tree has been cut, where we see the liquid coming out of it, where the poet is referring to the bleeding bark, and what he says, from there will rise up the cull green twigs, miniature boughs, and what will happen? It will grow again. It will go to the former size, the size which it had, and so therefore, if it is not checked, it will happen. And so, what is that? The line, so hack and chop. But this alone won't do it till here, these two lines. What figures of speech? Tautology, students. Why tautology? Hack and chop has the same meaning. Okay. Also, the litotes. Why litotes? Because it won't do it alone, but this alone won't do it, will not do it. Negation, okay? And so, the next line, not so much pain will do it. Not so much pain will do it. Make a bracket to this, again, litotes, because of the negation is used to convey positive meaning, that giving a tree pain will hardly kill it. By giving a tree pain will hardly kill it. The bleeding bark will heal. The bleeding bark, BB, alliteration. Metaphor, why metaphor? Because indirect comparison has been done with the skin of a person and the bark of a tree. Leprous body and the bark of a tree. This is the point of comparison, is to heal after bleeding. We also have the personification in it. The bark is given the human quality of bleeding and healing. And the synecdoche, the bark, stands for the tree. When you talk about the bark, you talk about the tree. Without the tree, how can the bark be? And without the bark, how can the tree be? Okay? So, 3 figures of speech over there. That is alliteration, metaphor, synecdoche, and also the personification, where the human quality has been given to the bleeding and healing. Who bleeds? But the human being, not the tree. Okay? Then come down. No, the root is to be pulled out. Sorry. One more figures of speech in the same stanza. 2, 3 more are there. The bleeding bark will heal. Then, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Make a bracket, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Make a bracket till that. It's a synecdoche, part of the twig stands for the tree. Alliteration sound G, ground and the green. Antithesis, because the opposite words, ground and will rise, to the same sentence, have been used in the same sentence. Therefore, it is antithesis. So, you have synecdoche, synecdoche, synecdoche for the same line, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twig. Alliteration, same sound of GG, green and ground. An antithesis for ground and will rise. Miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. And so what is it? Synecdoche again, because the boughs stand for the trees. Alliteration, the sound of the consonant W is repeated in the words in which and will. Antithesis, that is opposite words, miniature and expand, are used in the same sentence. So in this line, particular sentence, you have three devices, that is synecdoche, alliteration and antithesis. Okay. Then what? Miniature boss till the former size. Now come to the next stanza. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out, snapped out. Students, make the bracket to the, no, the root is to be pulled out till the anchoring earth. This both the lines. Which devices has been used? No shows the negation, therefore litotes. The earth is compared to an anchor, therefore the point of comparison is to hold on, metaphor. And the synecdoche, because the part root stands for the tree. Then comes what? It is to be roped, tied and pulled out and snapped out. Make a bracket till that. The climax, that there is an ascending order, the action roped, tied, pulled and snapped out. It's ascending. The word repetition, the word out is represented for the poetic effect. And the tautology of the unnecessary use of the words, that is roped and tied, is the same, which conveys the same meaning. Therefore, this sentence has climax, repetition and tautology. Come to the next page. Or pulled out entirely out of the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and weight, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. So students, what is that? Or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. Make a bracket to both these sentences in this stanza. What is it stand for? Metaphor, because the earth compared to the cave, the point of comparison is to be hollow, and repetition, because the word out is repeated for the poetic effect. To give the poetic effect, the word has been used over here. You see, or pulled out entirely out of the earth cave. The next line, and the strength of the tree exposed. Metonymy, the word strength represents the roots of the tree. Then comes the source white and weight. Metonymy, because the word source represents the roots of the tree. Alliteration, the sound of the consonant W is represented in the words white and weight, therefore alliteration. The most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. Metonymy, the words most sensitive hidden for years represent the roots of the tree. Okay, students? Come to the last stanza. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Students, what is it? Then the matter of scorching and choking. Internal rhyming, scorching and choking have been used in the same sentence. Alliteration, sound of the consonant TH represents what? PH represents then and the. Okay, then you have in the sun, air, in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. See the internal rhyming, that is browning, hardening, twisting, withering. The climax has been used, browning, hardening, twisting, and withering has gone into the proper order. See that action is that browning, hardening, twisting, and withering. Then comes the line, and then it is done. Make a separate bracket to the last line. And then it is done, the last line, separate line. What does it represent? Metonymy, because the words "it is done" represent the killing of the tree is over. Euphemism, because the unpleasant idea of the death of the tree is spoken in the pleasant manner through the word "done." Who is the poet? Poem has been written by Jiv Patel. Poem has been written by Jiv Patel. And what is the glossary? The meaning, the words have been given. The meaning of the job: lepericide, hack, anchoring earth, snapped out, scorching and choking. That is the dying up of the tree after being uprooted. Students, over here I am going to stop. I'll send you some questions. Also figures of speech, please, we have solved it here in the class. Try to write on your own figures of speech. Have a good day.